Hey there. So, Danielle and I do a couple of Facebook and YouTube lives on Friday. If you're tuning in for the first time, we've just expanded our audience to include a couple of realtor groups that we're in. We post this on our realtor YouTube channel as well. And right before we do this every Friday, we do one for the public on Facebook, and that's on our personal profiles. So if you are a realtor interested in what we have to say, tune in to any and all of them. Hopefully, you like what we have to say. So drop a comment.
Yeah. I was going to say, or if you don't like what we have to say, let us know, because we love different perspectives, because that really, it helps us become, we're all better realtors when we have good discourse between everybody and, get to see different perspectives, because maybe being in the suburbs, we see something different, and maybe it can't be a catch-all for even this area, So
yeah, and Danielle and I are kind of unusual people in that we actually like to hear differing opinions than our own, as long as they make sense, and we like to, be made to think. So don't feel bad unless you call us names. Don't feel bad about having a different perspective and voicing it here. We would really like you to do that. So today our topic was Ask Us Anything, and we're we're trying to, gather questions from the community and kind of find out what people are interested in knowing. Obviously, there's been an awful lot shaking up our profession this past week. And so we've all been made to realize how, in many cases, the public views us. I think we kind of get tunnel vision. We have our blinders on. We're looking at what our clients think of us, and of course they love us, and what our SOI thinks of us, and they think we're fabulous. But we have as a profession, we have a generally crappy reputation that I think we all need to dig in and start addressing and improving. So we all know lousy agents. If they could all just leave now, that would make it easier, but they probably won't. So instead of pointing them out and, kind of putting them on display, let's focus on what we each do, and not what we do that's so much better than everybody else, but what we do that's good and decent and takes care of people, because that's what most of us do every day, right? So I think we should all be digging in and focusing on that, and talking a little bit about, the messy stuff, talking a little bit about the hard stuff that we all try to pretend doesn't happen. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of discussed two questions. And again, being realtors, if you've been in this business for any amount of time or dealt with any type of amount of clients, we always understand and usually have the caveat for all of this stuff that, it depends. Every situation is different. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 5 things, and then immediately contradict it by saying,
however.
So I'm sure you guys can relate. But we were talking about as is, because obviously we see it a lot lately as far as sellers go, the last couple of years, maybe 3 years or so, since the inventory has gotten very tight. And we were kind of looking back on our career, what as is meant to a lot of people. What did as is in 2012 look like in a house?
Right.
You assumed that everything was falling apart.
Holes in the wall. It smelled bad. Someone had stolen the appliances, and not very gently. Watch where you walk.
Potentially.
No, you're not going to take your shoes off in this house.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the booties. They're fine.
Yeah.
So yeah. And another thing I think we need to look at is why is the seller asking if they can sell as is? Is it because they just don't have the money to make the improvements? Is it because they actually don't have any equity for whatever reason? Maybe they took out an equity loan. Maybe they've, been in forbearance. Maybe it's a money issue. And in that case, we can help them. What are the things, everybody can I will spring for the all-purpose cleaner if that's just what it needs, right? Everybody can improve to a point. But if they're talking about needing to spend money and not being able to, or there just isn't room in the value for it to come back to them, so there's no, opportunity for one of the companies that will get paid on closing. If there's no opportunity for them to take an equity loan or line and pay for those, if all of those solutions run out, then we need to just help them understand what the expectation is and what that is actually going to mean to a buyer who walks in and looks at it or smells it or needs to watch where they walk.
But we're personally going through, right, a seller's market. And I think that a lot of sellers go, well, it's a seller's market, so I can do whatever I want. And our contention, I think, really is to let the market, just like everything, let the market tell us what it is. A buyer can come in and make their offer better by choosing as is. We don't need to tell them, if they come through if it's any type of red flag, you always want to present sellers in the best light, your seller's property in the best light. So that's where we have the professional pictures. That's why we have a really good write-up and descriptions, and make sure everything's accurate so that they get into the door.
And then we all know that when they walk through that door, they need to feel something, and it needs to feel good. They need to have a positive emotional response to walking into that space. That's what makes them want to buy it. That's what makes multiple buyers want to buy something. And that's what we as realtors obviously are always trying to make happen. So I just think that a lot of times I see sellers' expectations not being set. Yes, of course you can sell as is. Yes, of course I want to get an appointment to talk about listing your house. But can we be, realistic about what that really means? And also, we don't have to say this to the people who are listening to us, because obviously they're really good realtors. But don't be that agent who says, well, we'll just put as is on the contract and then we'll negotiate later if we feel like it.
Well, let's be honest, Ruth, in both situations, if both the buyers and the sellers have an actual understanding of what our contract says, the parameters are right there.
Right.
There is certain things that the buyers can ask for. They can't ask for paint. That can immediately void a contract. No questions asked. I mean, yes, we always talk about.
You never know. Don't talk, you never, I've also seen agents say like, oh, well, it's been on the market for this long. There's nobody else, wants it. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. I guarantee you after 10 years of experience, I guarantee you there is somebody else. If you want it, somebody else does. That's just how the universe works.
Yeah, it's just like going on vacation. How many numbers or calls have we gotten, Ruth?
Exactly. So then we had another question. Should I take out a tub? And this is I said this is about a tub in this specific one, but it's really about anything that's kind of a big expense and a thing that changes the house a little bit and might change who your potential buyer is. So the first thing I ask anybody if they want to take out a tub or change a room from its original purpose to something else is, when are you selling, right?
Absolutely. Because there's that confusion there that, where a home is an investment. Absolutely. Right. And now we're seeing that it's usually, averaging a 10-year investment. I think we're edging towards people moving about every 10 years. Yeah. If you moved in last year and your kids are 5 years old and you're saying I'm moving here, obviously things change. But, if people are moving in 10 years, then do what you need to do. That's your home, right? So we should be helping our buyers see that too.
Don't be swearing at that tub. Yeah, exactly. We should all be talking to our buyers about, this isn't what's here now, but can you envision in the future that it could become whatever it is you're looking for? but to tell people don't take out the tub because people with little kids are going to want a tub, and when you go to sell it, you're not going to be able to sell it. Take it out in 10 years, put it in another tub if that's what you want to do.
Trend, if that's the demand. But
yeah.
Do you know what the demand is? I mean, 10 years ago, I probably would have absolutely said, the answer was hardwood or carpet. That was because laminate sucked, in my opinion.
Right.
It sucked. Now you see luxury vinyl plank everywhere. Now there's still people who will never be on board with that.
Yep. And that could change completely in 10 years. And the people, by the way, you people who think that there's anything that's really classic haven't been around long enough. But nothing is classic.
Do you see how people paint beautiful wood? All right, anyway.
Yeah. So hopefully you've enjoyed our little chat here, and we do this every Friday. We're gonna stream it into those Facebook groups, and we would love to see who's joining us. So if you are joining us in person, please leave a comment. If you're joining us later, leave a comment. I think we should start, maybe doing a little giveaway now and then. So
absolutely. We'd love for you to be part of the conversation, not just a comment. We'll include you in the conversation. I mean, it doesn't have to be on video, but I'm saying if you make comments, we can go some back and forth.
And maybe someday you want to join us too.
Absolutely.
If you've really got something to say, we'll pull you in real life, live into the conversation. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear how you in your business find the things that we're talking about. Are we full of it? Do you, want to shake our hands and buy us a drink? We're always up for that.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you soon. Let's make real estate better.
Absolutely.